In this video, I'm going to show you how to wire, or in my case, rewire, a boat, kayak, or utility trailer. Let's get going. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fishing with Gramps YouTube channel. My name is JT. Today, we're going to rewire my Malone Micro Sport trailer. I picked this up over the winter. It's only a few years old. I wanted to go ahead and upgrade the wiring on this trailer because I'm putting on LED lights, the side markers, and the brake lights. So I figured I'd do a quick video on it. It's a short and simple process, but let's get to it. I think there was a short somewhere in this one, so the running lights weren't working. I can have it set up to run 3 kayaks or a single set of punk. But in this project, we're going to remove all the old wires and replace it with this kit that we got from Amazon, which I'll drop down in the description below. But this should be a fairly quick and easy project. I'm going to reclaim and keep the 2 brake lights that are still good. We'll replace all of the lights, and we'll just keep the right and left for spares. So I'll go ahead and show you the process of removing the wires and then running the new wires from the front to the back and hooking everything up. Let's get started. Alright, so as you can see, we removed the 2 side markers off of each, the brake lights off of the back, and now we're going to attach this Berkeley Trilene. This is heavy gauge mono, 30 pound. We're going to connect it to these 2 wires. Now, if you have an enclosed trailer where it's not open and exposed like mine, you'll want to do this process back here at the very end, so that when you pull these wires from the back through the tubing in the trailer, you'll want to have it attached so you can pull it through all the way from the back up to here, and then like I'm going to do through the middle up to the front. And the reason why we're running the lines from either side going back is we're going to feed the new wire from the front through this main tube and then separate left and right once we get back here to the back. But since mine's not enclosed, I don't have to worry about that. It's just a heads up in case that's what your trailer looks like. Alright, so I just cut off about 2 8-foot pieces. What I did was I just walked the line up to the front, cut that off, walked the second one up to the front, left them there. Now I'll go ahead and connect these wires and pull them through. Now, a lot of times when I'm doing this, I like to make a loop with the mono, and I will come in the middle of it and then pull the tape back through one time. And pull it tight. And that way, as I put tension on this line, it can't pull the line out from in there because it's wrapped around the tape. So now that I've kind of gone through once, I'll just kind of lay the line in here next to it, and then wrap around again, and then just take it kind of off of this front to give it a little tapered. But that way, if I pull this line, if it was to pull tight, it's now pulling against the tape on the inside and won't pull it free. So yeah, that just makes it easier as we're pulling it through. So now that I've got both ends done, I'll go to the other end of the trailer and start pulling this through until we get to this fishing line. Alright, I will go ahead and disconnect our old ground wire. Set my screw aside for later. Alright, now we'll just start pulling the old wire through. Just being nice and gentle. Pull each one out one at a time. There's one. And there's the other. Let's go get our other wiring kit. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at what comes within the box. Reflective stickers, good to put on trailers. Just as a backup. Small set of wiring instructions. But that's what this video is for. But we'll talk about what the colors of the cables are. Side markers, running lights for each side of the trailer. The connectors for connecting our wires to the side markers. The wiring harness itself. And then two LED brake lights, blinking lights, running lights for the right and left. And one of them will have a running light that stays on at night while you're driving to shine down on the license plate. They make these kits with plenty of wire regardless of how long or short your trailer tongue is, giving you plenty to run all the way to the back. Now the one thing nice about this kit, and I don't need this in mine, but they actually give you a wiring harness in case you have to run it out of, say, the back of a car that doesn't have the built-in plug-in. You see how it has the stuff for the wiring into the right brake light and the left brake light on the back inside of the car, but we don't need this because our truck has the built-in plug. Alright, you can see our harness that goes up to the front, white ground wire which we will connect up to the front, and then the two sets of wires that come back for the left and right. As you can see, looking in closer, you have the left hand and the right hand turn signal. Left side is yellow, right side is green, the white is the ground, and then the set of brown wires are the actual running lights. And those are basically connected to stay on anytime the vehicle is running. So let's get up to the front and start running this to the back. We're just going to feed that back down through the front tube using our fishing wires. We're just going to snake these back and then we'll run each side back to the left and right of the trailer. Let's go ahead and get going. Alright, go ahead and cut our fishing wires from the old ones. Alright, so as you see, I've got one of the ends. I just kind of folded up the two open ends and you have the line running this way. I am just going to wrap this around one time. And run my line in a loop around these a couple of times. And pull it back down and around and through. And then I'm going to get some more tape, and this I'm just using it to make it tight. I'll just cut the tag end off. Because I'm just going to wrap this so it's kind of like a funnel. Going back down the line, so it gives it kind of a point coming through. Like so. And that way as I pull on this, the line up here just gets tighter. It's just an easy way when you're kind of tugging these off, you don't want it to come through halfway. It just makes it into a real pain in the butt. Now we'll go ahead and feed this up. I'll go tug on it until they're up close, and then I'll hand feed these in, and I'll go back to the back and pull it tight. So as you can see, we're just feeding it in this grommet here that comes out the side. I'll go ahead and poke that through. And we've kind of got them heading towards the back instead of the front. Coming back here, we'll just grab each one and start pulling them slowly. Yes. Slow and steady. And realistically, I'm just trying to keep one kind of ahead of the other so that they're not trying to compete for the same space at the same time. I'll go ahead and pull this one, that one a little bit further ahead. And again, the more tension I'm putting on the line, the more it grabs. Yep. So we're going to pull that out, put the grommet back on and in. And now we'll just go ahead and pull. Alright, I'm going to pull too much in and then pull back out to the front what I need. There we go. Now we'll come back up to the front. And then this way I can grab both of them equally. And I need enough to run up to here. I will get some electric tape and wrap those so it all stays together. That's plenty there to cover, turning left and right and all that. So we're good here, so I'll just leave that alone. Alright, so let's go ahead and run our cables back to each side. It's easier just to leave the trailer connected to the truck, so that way it doesn't move anywhere. Alright, kit comes with these nice little clips. Alright, now we've got the wires run around the left side coming back, yellow and brown on the left side, and green and brown along the right side coming back. I've just kind of put both of the brake lights in place for now. We're going to take those loose here in a minute and I'll show you why. And then we fed our cables into the included clips that will hold the wire up against the trailer. Now, let's talk about the side markers. I actually moved these from here where they connected through with a single bolt. I actually moved the side markers both up more towards the front. I drilled a hole through to run the wire through and then used 2 self-tapping screws to hold this side marker on. I just wanted it kind of more underneath and visible on the kayak, and I'll show you that later when we put the bunks on and the kayak on. But I wanted the side markers, the running lights, to be more dominant than they were back there kind of hidden behind or right in front of the rear fenders. I went ahead and took the reflectors on both sides. These are great in case you have a short and your lights aren't working. I put one of these on each side, and then I put 2 on the back as basically an emergency, so that vehicles following me at night, if my lights weren't working, they would have those reflectors to know where the trailer was. So let's go ahead and get everything wired up and connected. Assisting me today is Gunner, who, buddy, I got my little assistant out here, who, thanks for licking the camera, homeboy. Alright, so let's go ahead and get these wires connected up. Alright, we're going to church this up a little bit. Instead of using these little twist-ons to connect our cable wires, we're going to do a little better job. These are good for, small jobs around the house, but I don't like using them for, something that's going to be out more in the weather and trailers, stuff like that. Alright, so here's the 2 kits. I'll list these both below. We use these seal connectors to kind of solder these. We heat these up around the wires to bind the connections, make it more weatherproof. And then to connect the grounding wires. Oh look, Gran decided she wants to come out and be on video.
What's wrong with you?
I guess we're editing that out.
Yes, we're editing that out.
And then we have these heat shrink wire connectors. And these are a combination of the circle and quick connect like this. And we're going to use these for the ground wires for the back here. And we'll just go ahead and put these on the posts of the posts that are coming out of the back of each light. Just kind of clean it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and get going. We'll ground each of these tail lights by putting it directly against the frame, putting the nut on the bolt to hold it there. We'll do that on that side, and then when we connect the ground on the front, these 2 lights will be grounded to the frame. So now we can go ahead and connect our 2 other connections. yellow to yellow, brown to brown. Now I always leave a little extra wire back here because if there's one thing you'll notice down the road as you own a trailer, you're inevitably going to back into something at a boat ramp. It happens all the time. Every boat ramp is different, especially a lot of the smaller ones I put in at that may have posts or something at the edge. It's inevitable you break tail lights and you replace them often. So I'm going to leave myself probably an extra foot of cable for future crimps, and then I'll just zip tie this to the frame here so that we have the extra available next time we need it. Now I will go ahead and strip off about a ½ an inch on each cable. I think this was 16 gauge. Then we will come to our kit and find the one we need. Most likely, I'm guessing, is the red. Try to go with the smallest size you can. So when I connect these, I'll kind of squeeze this solder joint in the middle to connect the two wires, and then you'll see these red bands mount when we heat it up. I will go ahead and kind of give the wire a little twist just to make it go easier into the tube. I'll go ahead and feed it all the way on and grab our brown. And what I like to do is I like to just start basically twisting them onto each other. So I'll cross it and start twisting it around this way, and I'll take the other one and twist the other way, and that kind of binds them together. I'll go ahead and slip this up and then put that solder joint right in the middle of the two connections like that. Then we'll go ahead and feed our tube over the top, leaving our solder right in the middle. Now for this part, I recommend a heating gun or a hair dryer. I'm too lazy to go in and grab a hair dryer and run the extension cord, so I'm just going to use a butane torch on a very, very low setting. I got the two plastic bubbles around and the shrink tubing to it. And now from here, you can take and connect straight up against the trailer frame. Next, just tighten it down snug. You have a nice solid connection against to the frame, so you're connected there. All right, as you see, we got the white ground wire connected to the right side. Then over here, we've run the cables, spliced everything, got them all laid out. So there's the back end. Let's go head up and do our side markers, and then we'll move up front and do the ground and complete this build. All right, and coming around to this side, we're going to use this clamp splice connector. So we need to separate the two wires. I'm just going to run this right through between the two of them, just enough so I can get in there and pull the cables apart, like so. Now make sure you pay attention to these instructions so you connect this, because you would think out of common sense it would go yellow to yellow. Wrong. Yellow is for the left hand stop and turn, and the brown is for the tail, the license illumination, and the side marker. So this yellow cable we need to connect to the brown cable. That's the always on, because we want these side markers always on with the running light. That's why you always pay attention to these little instructions they give you. So we will go ahead and slide the brown cable into the splice on this side. And then we will slide our yellow cable in from the back until it runs into the wall on this side. And then we will hold everything in place and grab our pliers. And we want to squeeze this metal down straight onto the two wires until it's flush. Okay, get everything centered, push down. Making sure it's flush, and then we'll close this clamp. There we go. Go ahead and tighten these back up so it holds it in place, just like so. There you can see. Now let's do the other side. All right, now coming back up to the front here, finishing off. You see I've wrapped the wires themselves with electric tape just to kind of keep everything together. Went ahead and connected my white ground wire there to the frame. Left a little bit of wiggle room there, but you notice we also left plenty of room for, you know, making left and right hand turns. You don't want this to be too short. It's kind of funny, I was coming out of my barbershop today saying, hey, I need to go get my trailer finished wiring up, and one of the guys in there is like a handy guy, and he says, make sure you don't cut your ground wire too short. And I was like, you bet. But what he's talking about is leaving these cables too short so that if you run it up to the truck and plug it in, if you don't leave yourself plenty of room when you're making left or right hand turns, you could pull this loose away from the trailer. So that's really what he was talking about. But sound advice, and I knew when he said it, I knew exactly what he was talking about. So you want to leave yourself ample room here when you're running these cables for making those left and right hand turns. But now that we've got everything wrapped up, again, ground wires connected to the frame, the other two wires run into the back, and then again, just, you know, electric tape these together to kind of clean it up and keep them all together. So let's go ahead and run our lighting signal check that comes with my pickup truck. And what it's going to do is it's going to run through all of the displays. So let's go check out what it looks like from the back. I see my side markers working on this side, on always on. Side markers working on this side. And then when I get back here, it should be going through a relay of the tests. So right now we see the instant on or on, left turn signal, right turn signal. There's no reverse, not on these. Brake lights are both on, and it cycles back through. So everything looks good. You should see the white light that will shine down on the license plate. So there we have it, successful rewiring of my trailer. And it's just that easy. Takes about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just depends on if you have an open frame or tubing that you have to run more through, but it's still a simple, easy project that you can do yourself. Any comments or questions, drop them down below. As always, get outside when you can and make some memories, one cast at a time.